Okay, we're going to pan the room. Hopefully, no, you don't need to state your name. He just needs to know I have 3 people. See? Okay, so. All right, let's get you this. Okay.
No joking.
Yes, please. I wonder if I get extra credit for hecklers. Anyhow, okay.
No,
2 things. Yeah, I'm going right now.
Oh, okay.
Are we ready? Everybody ready? Quiet in the auditorium? Thank you. Okay. 2 things are for sure in this life: death and taxes. This saying is as true as it is disturbing. Our current tax code is complicated, exasperating, and basically not fair. It's bloated to the point that even the CPAs don't know how to apply the current tax code. Taxes are the lifeblood of any government. A flat tax would be the cholesterol pill for this government. The complex nature of our taxes is hindering growth, putting undue burden on workers, businesses, small and large. And there seems to be an incredible disconnect between taxpayers and the government and the amount of money the government assumes that taxpayers can truly pay. G. Gerthard of Investopedia.org defines a flat tax as this: a system that applies the same tax rate to every taxpayer regardless of income bracket, canceling all deductions, exemptions, and credits. Steps to implement a flat tax would be legislation that reorders the tax code, basically doing away with old tax code because we can't just add on to it. We need to do away with some of it. And then writing legislation that would reorder an organization of the IRS. Some people have even gotten down to the point where personal taxes could be done almost on a postcard. So here's our example. I got to show the camera first here. Okay, income from wages, I picked $1,000 just for easy math because you would only be based on your income. And then a flat tax rate, I picked 5%, seemed like easy math also. So your total federal taxes for a flat tax would be $50. You can see that? Okay. All right. Each tax rate would be set by the state concerning their demographics and their voters, decided upon by region. That way Jackson Hole, Wyoming is not necessarily paying the same tax rate that New York City, New York is paying. About.com gave me results for the states that currently have a flat tax for their state income. So Colorado pays 4.63%, Illinois pays 3%, Indiana 3.4%, Massachusetts pays 5.3%, Michigan 4.35%, Pennsylvania 3.07%, and Utah 5%. Now those are their state flat taxes. So most of their budget is out of that. They do have some of those states do have some sales tax, but most of that is under that flat tax amount. They tax only income and wages. Any dividends, interest on savings, capital gains, or increases in asset value would not be taxed. So how much tax do we pay now? According to nowandfutures.com, I did a pie chart for 2009's actual tax, and then I'll show you the projected tax for 2013. So I'm going to show the camera first. Okay, so here we have, now some states pay federal taxes as well as a state tax, like Oregon. So you've got, like, state and local tax here is 14%. Federal income tax here is 30%. They do have a case for other here, which runs about 11%. Corporate tax would be 5%. Corporate tax is like when a company has a tax increase or raises their prices and passes the tax on to the consumer. Fuel tax 1%, property tax 4%, Social Security and Medicare 14%, and then sales tax down here at 17%. Now for 2009, that added up to 54% of your annual wages basically going in some form of tax. For 2013, the projection for taxes for a regular worker was 59.7%. In taxes of their income. Now, if we enact a flat tax, then we could get our yearly taxes basically done in minutes. Millions would be saved to reinvest for businesses, manufacturing and development, and repurposing some of our business areas. You can see it in downtown Wall Walla, just like you see it in Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Los Angeles. Huge areas of businesses just empty, just sitting around with nobody doing anything with the buildings or the markets. By expanding business, you would be creating more taxpayers. So even though the flat tax seems like it would take a big chunk out, it actually, once reinvestment started to kick in, it would actually bring more taxpayers to the table. Okay. CPAs who no longer work for the IRS could be repurposed for state governments, for entrepreneur programs, business programs, financial education programs. It's absolutely staggering how many teenagers have, or young adults have no idea how much taxes they pay. Only a few people per state would be needed to manage the money for the IRS to collect and do enforcement per state. So it would save huge amounts of money for the federal government on property and buildings and all that stuff. Some challenges, according to Rob Frank, the New York Times 2011, pointed out that a percentage, or that some people would assume that the rich would basically get away with not paying as much. But since it would run on a percentage, if you made $1 million, you're going to pay more, even if it's just 10%, than a poor person would pay on $15,000 a year for their flat tax. And of course, you know, those rich people could again start to reinvest and expand their businesses and hire new employees. And the rich cannot out leverage the middle class, because the middle class would be a larger amount of people paying taxes than the rich. Then, you know, the power would basically be in the hands of the middle class. According to Health and Human Services for 2013, the poverty line is $15,500 per a two-person household. So what we could do to handle the issue of the poor is we could create a scholarship fund. So those who, for whatever reason, can't pay $35 or $50 a year, they could appropriate a scholarship. I don't think we should ever pay 100%. Because even if you only pay $1 a year, you're participating in your government. It gives you a sense of ownership. And it may even get you out to the polls. State governments would be able to localize programs for equal opportunity. There may be some disparity at first during transition, but local governments know who their rich people in their state are. They're going to know if they're reinvesting. They're going to know if this is working way before the federal government would. It would take courage to do this and no small feat to get it through the Congress and the Senate. The government's pretty much drunk on spending money, and a flat tax would be an incredible AA meeting for them to attend. We do have some inroads already into taxation change, TurboTax, free IRS filing, software programs like QuickBooks and Peachtree already have incredibly streamlined taxes to the point where when I was a young lady, you never dreamed of doing your own taxes. I mean, we had the 1040 EZ form, but you know, you really, if you wanted deductions and any exemptions, you had to hire an accountant. So we actually are seeing some market-based changes in the tax codes and the way taxes are done. Now, the call to action would basically be educate, educate, educate your children. Educate them how much taxes they're paying. Educate them on what is okay and not okay. We do not need to pay taxes, you know, on our income and then pay taxes on our dividends of investing that income and then pay taxes when we die, or our children paying taxes on the income we just paid taxes on. So educating them and then getting a hold of any representatives for any tax reform that's come up. There is a tax reform bill already on the floor, introduced 2 days ago. I haven't had a chance to research it, forgive me. But they are trying at least to make some inroads into tax reform. So a flat tax has its time. And since we are $17 trillion in debt now for our children, I think it's time that we cut the fat.